23rd, 2026. Let's gather together, experience the goodness of God. I'm Pastor Trey Comstock. We'll begin with our scripture of the week, Genesis chapter 22, verses 1 through 14. And then Pastor Emily Larson and I will talk about how I don't think that Abraham is a serial killer. And how God really is going to take care of us. We don't need to doubt it. But first, a reading from Genesis chapter 22, verses 1 through 14. After these things, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I shall show you. So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and his son Isaac. He cut the wood for the burnt offering, and set out, and went to the place in the distance that God had shown him. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place far away. Then Abraham said to the young men, Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you. Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on his son Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife. So the 2 of them walked together. Isaac said to Abraham, Father, and he said, Here I am, my son. He said, The fire and the wood are here, but the lamb for the burnt offering, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham said, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. So the 2 of them walked on together. When they came to the place that God had shown him, Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order. He bound his son Isaac, and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out his hand and took out the knife to kill his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Do not lay your hands on the boy or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. And Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught in a thicket by its horns. Abraham went, took the ram, and offered it up as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called the place, The Lord will provide, as it is said to this day, on the mount of the Lord it shall be provided. Okay. There are a number of ways to read this story. Mm-hmm. As I read this, it chose to lean into that this is a biblical horror film. That this is, because if you take this as it often gets read, and as I don't read this way.
Right.
If you take it this way, that Abraham is just stone cold killer,
right?
Like laying the trap and just going along, and then delivers one of the most stone cold killer lines in ancient literature. Hey, Dad, you got the fire and the knife. Like, where's the sacrifice? Oh, don't worry, Isaac. The Lord shall provide the lamb for the slaughter.
Like a mob boss.
Like a mob boss. Like he absolutely...
Make you an offer you can't refuse, right? Like this is just, it's a very...
Or he's a serial killer.
It's a weird way to talk.
So that is not how I read this.
No.
And it's not that I doubt the text as it is written. Merely... I assign that the words that Abraham says each time he talks, he doesn't think he's killing Isaac.
Right. No.
Because either you assume he is a liar and a just absolute stone cold killer. Oh, don't worry. Me and the boy will be back. That's what he says to the servants.
Right.
We will be back.
We. Plural. Will be back.
And so you're like, of course he would say this. He's just covering it up.
But also to Isaac, he says, Don't worry, God will provide the lamb, not I'm about to kill you as the sacrifice, right? Like, this is not like he knows that God's going to provide the sacrifice and that it's not going to be Isaac.
Right. That's my read, is that this is a test. He is being tested.
Yes.
He is being tested, not just what is he willing to do for God. It is my read of the test is, what does he know about the character of God? That God made this promise, and now God is saying, kill this kid. That's very confusing.
Right.
So I'm going to trust in the character of God, that this promised child, my beloved child, is not really going to be the sacrifice.
Right.
And so I'm going to go through the motions of this, but I am going to make it clear to Isaac and the servants, I do not think that Isaac is dying.
Right.
I don't know how this is going to go, but I do not think that Isaac is dying, or else this is just a horror film.
A true crime documentary.
A true crime documentary. This is like, I got really into the Murdaugh case in whatever Carolina they say they're from. And he is just stone cold kills his child, stone cold kills him.
Yeah.
And is really chill about it. And so either you think that Abraham would belong well in the Murdaugh family, which I don't.
No.
Or my read, because this is serial killer stuff.
Right.
This is kills without empathy stuff. This is just like,
right.
Yeah, don't worry about it, kid. The Lord will provide it. Because
right.
the Lord gave me you, and you're the sacrifice. Yeah,
right.
me and the kid will be back.
Wink,
we'll
wink.
be back. This isn't weird.
Yeah.
This isn't weird. Cut to the shot of the two workers. He said he would be back. He didn't.
We
have
believed him.
Sacrifice. Maybe he was going to pick it up on the way. I don't know. Why would I have thought that he was going to kill his kid? Abraham loved Isaac. Cut to the other guy. I was pretty sure he was going to kill him, but I didn't say anything. No, you didn't, Bobby.
No, you didn't. Nobody
you were
thought
high.
This.
Well, I was high, right? You can watch the true, we're sitting in their living room. They're actually a beautiful gay couple, it turns out. And they're surrounded by weird knickknacks of their one dog, and they're just they don't they disagree, but clearly they didn't know.
Right.
Now it's interview with Sarah.
Afterwards.
In front of the
conversation. That's the conversation I really want to hear is what did Sarah say to him after wait, you did what today?
No, but it wasn't going to kill him. It was fine. Actually,
hey, Mom, Dad tied me up today and put me on top of the altar. You did what?
Yeah, yes, that's a conversation I can absolutely imagine, but I don't think there was ever the conversation of, God thinks I'm supposed to kill this. God told me to kill this kid, and I'm just going to do it. I just don't. Again, as much as we should make the true crime documentary about the binding of Isaac,
right?
Complete with these characters that I've created of this lovely gay couple with a dog who is the two servants.
Yes.
He said he would be back. I mean, I didn't see an animal, and I thought that was strange. But you don't know. He could have had it somewhere else.
Right.
I don't, it's not my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He was never violent before he cast out Ishmael. Well, I mean, he did do that.
Yeah.
And then they find Ishmael somewhere, right?
And Ishmael's like, I saw this coming.
I always knew it.
This is how he's always treated his sons,
see
right?
what he did to me. This is what he did to Isaac. I always knew it was trouble. He's out there, signs at the courthouse, justice for Isaac. He's actually the one who sponsored this documentary because clearly Ishmael did really well for himself because naturally he would. Great guy, Ishmael. So he's funding the whole reinvestigation of the.
This is a whole. We should just create this true crime documentary. This is not what happened. But
that's not what happened.
This isn't what happened.
That's what we keep spinning it into. And what it actually is, as far as I can tell, is He's going through the motions because he knows it's going to work out somehow.
Right. Because Abraham is faithful and trusts in the character of God, knowing that God is not going to cause him to lose Isaac.
My other piece that why I don't think that Abraham ever thought he was going to kill him is the ways that this subverts ancient literature.
Yes.
So we don't always, I don't think we always think about the Old Testament this way because we're so used to it. And so for us, and this is a good thing, we don't think of it as, we don't necessarily always think of it as ancient literature because it's not ancient to us. We know it really well. You grow up in church, you know these people.
Right. But
actually,
it is 2,700 years old.
It's a similar age to the Iliad and the Odyssey and the Oedipus cycle in Greece. And in those books, guess what's happened to Isaac? He dying.
Right. All of the tests and the trials and the tribulations in those stories are epic, and somebody dies.
And often it does involve there is this prophecy that this is Oedipus, this kid Oedipus is going to kill his father and marry his mother. And so I'm going to leave him out to get pecked to death by birds.
Right.
And then because that's never that you can't do that. That's arrogance. You cannot avoid the fates like that. He gets away and then he's walking the road and he kills his dad and then he becomes the king and thus marries his mom. And then the prophet's like, oh my God, you know what you did? He's like, no, but now I'm going to stab my eyes out. Spoilers for a 2,700-year-old play.
Right.
That's Oedipus Rex.
Right.
By the way, that thing I just did, the Oedipus Rex, it's great. Everyone should read it. I had to read it so many times. The joys of being a theater major.
But this story's contemporary.
Yes. Right? And so to my actual point, one of the things that God does in this story is demonstrate the way that God is not like that.
Right. That
God
if
ancient literature of the time often had, well, the gods have said it, so now you need to go do this horrific thing. No, you don't.
Right.
Abraham did not have to kill Isaac. I don't think that Abraham was willing to kill Isaac. I think Abraham knew God doesn't work like that. God is not going to make me kill Isaac. And so this is a subversion of expectation. And we don't have that expectation, right? And also we don't always put Greek mythology and the Old Testament as contemporaries, but they very much are.
Yes.
They're a few hundred miles apart and contemporaries.
But this is the stark contrast to what that Greek literature would have been. And so often in our own lives, we can get caught up in the chaos or caught up in the struggle or caught up in the, wait, God, you want me to do what? And forget that the point of this story is to have that faith in God, to have that trust in the nature of God, in the character of God, and knowing that God's got it worked out, right?
We're actually talking about this. So we are recording this kind of out of time and space because as you're listening to this, I'm on a mission trip with our youth. Very excited to be there. And so this is actually a week ago. Hi from the past. Hello, future. I'm sure it's great there. But so we just had a board of stewards meeting, my leadership team, and those meetings are 3 hours long, so we just got a lot to talk about. I'm blessed with a very healthy board, but a lot of my devotionals with them lately, as we have been just we've joked about it on here, but we've had to do just a lot of catch up on deferred maintenance. And so it can really feel like every month we gather to what is wrong today. Oh, that roof has leaked for 15 years. Oh, this month was okay, so when your roof leaks for 15 years, it ruins your ceiling. And so now we're going to spend thousands on a ceiling after we spent 15,000. This is all public information. I don't mind naming the numbers. 15,000 on the roof and 40,000 on a new floor for the fellowship hall, because we didn't have to just put in a floor. The last time they put in a floor, they didn't level the slab, and they didn't seal the slab in Houston, Texas. And so,
just necessity.
And then, like, my stupid oven that I realized we were talking about that in the pre-show, the parsonage is getting a new oven because our oven died, but then that oven was like 2 sizes too small. So whatever size the Grinch's heart is. And so the oven is going to need to grow 3 times bigger this day. And like, that's going to cost money. And the copy machine, so we have a copy machine, like a normal one. Remember when we used to run a church off only a laser printer?
Yeah, that was
a home laser printer.
Insanity.
And they looked at me and went, "We're saving money." And I'm like, "You're
no,
not.
You're not.
You're not the ones buying the ink."
Yeah.
Even when we went to fake ink and only didn't, anyways. So our copy machine is broken. I walked in to make copies for my meeting, and there was like a box of carpet squares. And I was like, "That's weird. Why is that on the ground?" And then so I moved it because I was like, "Oh, I'm going to tidy it up." And then the copier didn't work. So it turns out that those carpet squares are now integral to the functioning of the copier. You see, there's this thing at the bottom called V1. And V1 has to be pushed all the way in order for the copier to work. But V1 has come undone. And so they wedged this very clever person wedged the carpet squares against V1 to keep it lodged in place. And as soon as I moved the carpet squares back, fired right up and started printing.
I mean, if it works.
Right. But it can.
But that's a deferred maintenance. Yeah.
But church life can feel like that. It's just we're going through a moment as the church where it is like my event coordinator, Lucy, will often, like, she also, part of her job is managing vendor relations. I know y'all are all fascinated by the internal workings of my office. I just lived there, but like, she'll often like get really optimistic, and I appreciate her optimism. Like, okay, we'll knock out this, and then we'll be good. And I look at her and go, "Lucy, no,
there will be something else.
There will be something else. There will always be something.
There will
else.
never not be something else that needs to be maintained or updated or whatever the case may be. Or that generally
just like stresses you out, bums you out, is a problem, right? Like, I've taken my truck to the shop 3 times. I have taken one of our 2 vehicles to the shop 4 times in 6. Well, it'll be 4 times tomorrow morning. 4 times in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's, and if it's not that, it's health stuff, and if it's not that, it's relationship stuff. Whatever. Like,
there's just always something.
Always something.
Right.
And it can be and this was my message to my board, and it is intimately related to this text. It can be very easy to get stuck in that.
In the problem.
Only see that. Mm-hmm. And not see above that.
So we went swimming today. I don't know if you can see my sunburns from too much sun exposure today. But it was at like a kid's splash pool. There's like a slide, and there's like the whole toddler area is like 2 feet deep max, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful because I can sit and the girls can go play and they can, swim and whatever. And there was another little boy in our mom's group that was there, and he is taller than 2 feet. He's, 4 feet tall, maybe. But he went down to look for something and then couldn't remember how to stand up.
Yeah.
Just panicked and forgot that he could just stand up, and was like under the water, and like a mom had to, kind of help him up a little and be like, "Dude, you're fine. We were right here. We weren't going to let you drown. it wasn't actually
Yeah.
a moment for panic. We had you the whole time. It was not an emergency. But we can forget that God's got this, right? That it's not actually as panic inducing a moment as it needs to be when we just calm down and realize that God's in control. When we realize that God's got this, that the ram will be provided, that life is always going to be chaos, but it's okay because God's got you.
Right. That it is, and I think people who I think mental health challenges accentuate this, right? Like, I don't know that I've talked about this in the show, but I read the Virginia, the Epstein survivor, blanking on her last name. Anyways, I read her autobiography, and it she kills herself, right? Like she before finishing that book, and the kind of the co-author comes alongside and helps finish the book, and the family endorsed putting it out, and then her siblings kind of have put a statement in the front of the book like, Virginia worked really hard and really wanted to tell this story, and it was really important to her, and so we're going to make sure this book. But I knew, and I had followed her case and all of that, and I knew within a few paragraphs, oh, yeah, this was never going to end well.
Yeah.
Because one of the refrains of, and this is her own words, right? But always it was, if I can just do this, I'll be okay. Right. If I can just get here, I'll be okay. Right. If I can just get to this place, if I'm okay. If we can just move out of this place, I'll be okay. And that's the trap.
Yeah.
Right. That's the like really deep, dark trap of life. And then, if you suffer with depression, or, I think for her, like, and then like an amount of trauma incomprehensible, right? Like, this is not an argument that she messed up. It's just one of those like, oh, I can hear it. I know that logic. I can hear it. And that logic is dangerous. Yeah. And that logic, even if it's just dangerous in the incredibly self-defeating, can't stick your head up and look around way, like the chaos, like you are unlikely to get to that place where the chaos just goes away.
Right. Where you don't feel like you might fall underwater and drown.
Right. When like there aren't just like random bad things that happen. Like you're not, that place isn't out there where like it's all just going to be perfect all the time. I think about, this is also my grand argument. Like you should enjoy your life other than when you're also like, you shouldn't be saving up the joy of life for retirement, because apparently as soon as you retire, all you do is go to the doctor for a living.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so enjoy, like, learn to see God in the midst of it. Learn to find peace in God in the midst of it, because you're never, because of the chaos of the world, the chaotic nature of human bodies, the whatever, like it's not going away.
Right.
And it's not going to be like, oh, I just make this much more money and then I'll be okay. Because guess what? There's always that next more money. And it's all like a grind. And I'm in that place where I'm convinced to go to the auto shop 4 times in a month, and my stupid oven is dead, and plus the church owns the house, and so the church is paying for the oven, but I then have to raise the money that we spend on the oven. And so like, while I am not buying this oven, I am buying this oven.
Right.
And I'm convinced that like middle class life is just a trap for me to maintain things.
Yeah.
I can barely afford to maintain.
It does feel a bit like a rat race.
Yeah, I mean, because I can be guilty about this with vehicles, right? Like we work really hard to like catch up on the maintenance and buy not the giant truck. I missed that truck, but not the giant truck that ate transmissions like they were candy. And like, I have a sensible Ford hybrid and a Subaru Outback, and like now we're gonna be okay. And sure, except the battery died on the truck essentially the same day the coolant sensor on the Subaru broke, stuck open, so the engine is hypercooling itself, and then the suspension was going, and then the sway bars are shot. Now it flooded in Houston yesterday. I know, shocking, but I hit a big bow wave in my little truck, and I think I damaged the undercarriage. It's like this plastic bit now flaps when I go 70 miles an hour. It's just like dumb.
But there will just always be something.
There will always be something.
That's just the chaos of life.
Yeah.
But the trick is to trust God in the midst of all of that chaos.
And learning to be at peace in God in the midst of the chaos, because the chaos ain't going away. And it's a really dangerous trap if okay is always only just over the horizon.
What's next? Yeah. Whereas in today's scripture, Abraham seems completely at peace walking up the side of that mountain with Isaac, right?
And not because he is a sociopath who lacks empathy.
Right. But because he knows God's got this. God's going to provide the sacrifice. We are going to go worship God, and then we are going to come back.
I'm just going to raise this knife. I know I'm not going to have to use it. I will go through the motions, God. I am raising the knife. Oh, look. There's a ram. What a shock.
Yeah.
I knew something like this. I am okay in the midst of it. Right. And that doesn't mean we're not going to struggle, and that this isn't to ever judge people or moments of struggle. We get this beautiful scene in the garden where we get to see Jesus struggle.
Right.
Speaking of that, so not actually since our last recording, 2 recordings ago, but whatever. I finished I Am Jesus Christ.
Oh, yes.
I finished it. That game is bad. And the ending is worse.
Oh, dear.
So they take the Garden of Gethsemane scene and they turn it into a battle between Jesus and Satan, where Jesus goes into like a shadow realm full of a giant basilisk, full of Nagini, and from Harry Potter, and like the devil is like, oh, you're gonna die, it's gonna hurt so bad. And then when he says, not my will, but your will be done, that like pushes the devil back a little bit. And I hated that. I absolutely hated that.
Yeah.
Because it takes a scene where Jesus is just having human struggles. And the devil ain't got nothing to do with it.
Nope.
He's a human. This is going to hurt really bad.
And Jesus doesn't want to do it.
And Jesus is struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gonna hurt a lot, and he has a moment where he's like, "Yeah, I don't know that I want to do this.
I don't love this. Yeah,
I don't love this.
Mm-hmm.
This is hard." And he does the thing.
Right.
He goes to God, and he says, "Hey, God, I don't. It's not the devil. The devil ain't got nothing to do with that.
No.
It's just I'm struggling." And it's this beautiful, I find it, I talk about it a lot. Like, it is this beautiful moment, really critical moment in scripture, because you're seeing Jesus struggle in the same way that you might struggle. And then you see him find strength in God to do it.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. And this video game took something that is beautiful, and like that game loves to do, that game is more obsessed with Satan than your average Satanist.
Yeah.
Like, it just injects the devil into places the devil isn't. Like, I get that the devil shows up the temptation.
Right.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But in the garden.
Not in the garden. Not so
in
much,
the garden.
no. Well, and this also shows, so Jesus knows that God will be faithful, right?
Yep.
In the resurrection. And so Jesus also trusts God. Like this, that beautiful moment, right?
Just
as Abraham trusts.
It took a moment of struggle. We get to see Jesus go on a journey from lament to trust.
Yes.
As often happens in the Psalms, but we see Jesus do it. And I have always found that scene deeply empowering.
Yes.
Because it both normalizes struggle and even has Jesus as he depicts what is the perfect human life. The perfect human life is not a life devoid of struggle.
Right.
A perfect life is being able to go to God and find peace in God in the midst of that struggle. But that doesn't mean there won't be moments. That means there will be moments where you're just like, God, this sucks. God, I don't want to do this. God, you know how much this is going to hurt. If it were up to me, God, we would not be doing this.
And
then he finds peace.
And then he does peace. And trusting in God. And that's the beauty of it. And that's the example that we are set in the midst of our struggles, in the midst of our chaos. Scripture never said that once you decide to follow God, that your life becomes easy.
Quite the opposite, in fact.
Yes.
Quite the opposite.
Very much so. In this world, we will have troubles.
Right. Like we go over this a lot, but they did kill Jesus.
Yes.
They did kill him.
Yeah.
And James the Lesser.
And a lot of the followers of Jesus also died a lot of terrible deaths.
And Paul, and with enough reasonable archaeology, Peter. A lot of them, and then generations, like a lot of them, and they all suffered. I mean, God, like, you know, Mary suffered a couple of times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, you know,
a lot of suffering.
We talked about this a little last week. This is kind of the addendum to this, right? That the chaos is not going anywhere.
Right.
Until Christ, and I literally said in the board meeting, right? Like, until Christ comes in final victory and we feast at his heavenly banquet, like, stuff is going to break.
We will have struggles.
People are going to be lousy.
Yep.
Your body's going to break down sometimes. It's going to be some weird emotional stuff. People you love are going to die. Like, all of those things and 100 things more that I'm not even thinking about. Like, bad people will continue to do bad things.
Good things will happen to bad people. Bad things will happen to good people. The world is not fair. Yeah.
The world will contain a trillionaire. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. That was like even before that, he could spend like millions of dollars a day and not run out of money.
Ever.
Right. But like, all of that is going to exist. And part of the message of Scripture, and certainly part of what is happening here, assuming you don't think Abraham is a psycho,
right,
is he doesn't fully understand it. He knows the character of God. He knows it's going to be all right. But there is chaos in this world. We are going to face it. And so we do need to have the faith of Abraham. And that doesn't mean willing to murder our children.
It means trusting in the character of God, to know that God's got you.
And that's as good a place as any to bring this one in for a landing. If you have thoughts if you have strong opinions that you think this is a horror movie, email me, thegoodnessofgodpod@gmail.com. That is thegoodnessofgodpod@gmail.com. We are the Divine Provisions Co., and we need your help. Like, comment, subscribe, leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, share something we have made that you have found meaningful. There is lots of short-term form content going up all the time. If you want short or long form versions of the sermon that accompanies this, I won't promote this every week, but we got a whole bunch of digital infrastructure stuff resolved for St. Stephen's very recently. You can go to youtube.com/@STSHTX. And you want to see where does this go? Because eventually, we talk about it some, this podcast becomes a sermon. When an angel gets its wings. No. Anyways, if you would like to be financially involved in the work that we do, it does cost money for things like Riverside.fm, the various services and gear. One of our constant is the gear that breaks.
Speaking of the struggle,
we buy a Elgato Cam Link every year, about once a year for Emily. We cooked one of our cameras because it was living in 120 degrees for entirely too long. Gear, one of our constant is just the gear that breaks. I sometimes think I spend as much time managing the studio as I do recording things in it. You can go to divineprovisions.co, click the donate button. If you want more of what we do, we make a lot of it. I'm taking a break from streaming for now. I'll get back to it in the fall with another, I'm sure, terrible Christian video game. You can find us at Divine Provisions Co. on all the things, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, at Divine Provisions Co. and divineprovisions.co on the internet. And go in peace to love and serve the Lord. We'll see you next time.